Welcome, my friends, to this full body flow. We're going to open the whole body up from head to toe. You just need yourself, a mat, 2 blocks, and whenever you're ready, you can meet me in the middle of your mat in easy pose or Sukhasana. You can place the hands onto the knees and just close the eyes down or have a soft gaze, maybe staring on the floor or something nice looking in front of you. Take a moment to settle, to check in with the body and the mind. Maybe it's the first check-in all day. We're not judging, we're just simply observing. And when you have settled into your shape, take a big intentional breath in through the nose, filling the belly, the rib cage, and the chest, and let it out through the mouth. Again, just like that, a deep inhale through the nose, letting it out through the mouth. One more, just like that. Deep inhale through the nose, filling the whole body up all the way to the tippy top of the crown. And letting it all out. Letting what could have been, what should have been, whatever the day was, letting it all out and leaving it behind so that you can turn to focus on yourself and your breath and your body. Whenever you're ready, you can blink the eyes open or keep them closed if you're good with audible cues. And we'll bring the knees into the chest, roll over the knees, and meet in tabletop in the middle of our mat. The toes will be tucked, the knees will be underneath the hips, the spine will be in a neutral position, the wrist will be underneath the shoulders, and the fingers will be spread wide across the mat. On your next breath in, drop the belly, look up towards the sky, flick the tailbone to the ceiling, lengthen the front of the neck, and hold here. Continue to breathe as you feel the spinal extension, pushing the ground away, pushing the hips up towards the sky. And then in your next exhale, round the back, concave inward, mad cat. Push the shoulder blades apart, push the toes into the ground, maybe even squeezing the glutes forward. Really round the back deeply, gaze towards the navel. Hold here. Continue to breathe. Feel the rib cage expand on the back body. And then begin to oscillate between your cat-cow, inhaling to drop the belly, looking up, exhaling to round the back. Finding a rhythm with your own breath, inhaling, looking up, exhaling to round. Finding a link, a smoothness between the movements. One more, looking up and rounding. And then coming to stillness into your tabletop. Begin to walk the right hand just outside the mat. Point your left hand towards the right corner of your mat, pinky side down. Begin to drop the chest towards the mat, kind of like a diagonal puppy pose. And whenever you've dropped the chest, gaze over the right shoulder behind you for a twist. Think about shifting the weight into the left hip to keep the hips squared and even. Feeling the stretch in the tricep, the shoulder, all the way to the left side body, maybe even to the hip. Good, you can come out, release. We'll go over to the other side, walking the left hand just outside the mat, pointing the right fingers to the left corner, pinky side down, and then dropping the chest low into your diagonal puppy. And then once you have made it down, you can gaze over that left shoulder, taking it into a twist. Remember to shift the weight into that right hip to keep the hips nice and even. And notice how even in that shifting, it changes the stretch. Breathing deep, full breaths, in and out through the nose, or in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good, you can release that. Bring both wrists underneath the shoulders, and then walk both hands out, dropping the chest low for your full puppy pose, either setting the chin or the forehead onto the mat. Think about sending the weight into the glutes, almost like you want to drag your hands along the mat, and walk your fingers forward just a little bit more, really hollowing out the armpit, stretching long through the upper body. Good. You can send the glutes back to the heels and let the hands slide along the mat. You can untuck the toes, coming to sit all the way in a seated position. You can adjust here. You can sit on a block if the knees are not comfortable, or set a blanket underneath the knees if that is more comfortable for you. Inhale the arms up, really reach the rib cage out of the body. Grab a hold of your right wrist and lean towards the left. Gentle stretch, come back up, switch sides, grabbing the left wrist, leaning over to the right side. Good, coming up, we'll take a twist over to the left, dropping the right hand onto the left knee. Inhaling to come up, twisting over to the other side. Gazing behind us. Bringing the hands all the way up, inhaling, and then exhale, releasing the hands by the side. You can remove your block if you were sitting on one, or your blanket. Good. We'll come up to the knees just for a moment, and we'll step our right foot out into a low lunge. Inhale the arms up. I like to shift the weight, come out of my lunge just for a moment so I can tuck the pelvis and then sink down back into the lunge. Really feeling that stretch along the left hip flexor. Good, we'll take a twist to the right, gazing behind us. Inhale the arms up, look up. Exhale, take another twist over to the right. Inhale, arms up. Twist over to the right once again. Stay here. Drop the left arm down, send the right arm up, easy twist. Gazing upward, twisting through the shoulder girdle. Good, you can bring the right arm down onto the right knee. Go ahead and grab your block, place it on the inside of your right foot. Place your left hand onto the block. Inhale, ripple the spine up nice and tall so you can further twist over that right leg. Using the right knee as an anchor point to help you twist further. Sitting up nice and tall. Finding length in the back. Good, you can release. Move your block over to the side, keeping it handy. We can frame the foot, send the leg back, and then we'll bring the left knee to the front. Inhaling the arms up, sitting up nice and tall, and then exhale, sending the hips low and down towards the mat. Thinking heavy and groundedness with the legs, while thinking lifting upward with the upper body. Exhale, take a twist over to your left, gaze behind you. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, take a twist. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, twist one more time. Stay in your twist, use the core strength. And then drop your right hand to the mat, left arm goes up, easy twist. You can drop the left hand to the left knee, grab your block, Place it on the inside of your left foot. Place your right hand onto the block. Ripple the spine up, sitting up nice and tall, and then using the left knee as an anchor point to twist further. Still thinking about sending the hips low and forward towards the ground, sinking deeper into this lunge while we are also twisting. Good. You can come out of your twist. Remove your block. Frame your foot. Send it back into tabletop. You can untuck the toes, take a child's pose just for a moment to let the hips settle. And use this time to check in. Notice how the hips are feeling. Notice how the body and the mind is feeling as we move through practice. A good time to check back in with the breath if you've lost that focus. You can shift side to side in your balasana, your child's pose, if that feels good on the hips and the ankles. We'll come back through our tabletop, tuck the toes, send the hips up and to our downward facing dog. If this is your first downward dog of the day or just the first downward dog of practice, invite those little micro movements that feel good to help us find our placement, whether that's pedaling the feet or shifting the hips from side to side. The feet will be hip width apart. The knees will be bent if needed to get that length in the back. The hip bones will be shooting up towards the sky. We want to think about grounding down the heels towards the mat. The back body is lengthened and strong as we push out through the shoulders. Our wrists are shoulder width apart. The fingers are spread wide across the mat. We are internally rotating our palms inward to get the weight onto the thumb and the index mound, while simultaneously externally rotating the shoulders to stay nice and open across the back. Keep breathing here in your down dog. Deep, full breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Look forward, gaze in between your hands, and make the way to the top of your mat with a little baby step. Spin your knees as much as you need to get there. Walk the feet in between the hands. Take an inhale for a halfway lift with a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up with a flat back. Exhale, fold. Plant the left hand in the middle of your mat. Reach the right arm up, bending the left leg, straightening the right, gazing towards the right thumb or the sky. Feeling that stretch along the glute and the hamstrings. Releasing, placing your right hand towards the mat, left arm reaching up, twisting, bending in the right knee, straightening the left. Releasing, we'll do that on each side one more time. Inhaling, reaching the right arm up, really twisting open from the navel, opening the shoulders, opening the chest. Exhale, release. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, release. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll all the way up to standing, vertebrae by vertebrae. Your head will be the last thing to come up. We'll run through 2 rounds of Surya Namaskar a great foundational sequence that's good for activating and opening up the whole body. Inhale the arms up, look up, tuck the pelvis, high mountain. Exhale, fold forward over the thighs, plant the hands onto the mat. Exhale, uncurl, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back into a plank position. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lower all the way down, half push-up, Chaturanga Dandasana, untucking the toes, lifting the chest up, upward facing dog. Exhaling, rolling over the toes, sending the hips back, downward facing dog. We'll stay here for 5 breaths. For 1. For 2. For 3. For 4. For 5. Gaze in between your hands, make the way to the top of your mat, jump, skip, hop, however you get there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift all the way up with a flat back, arms overhead, gaze upward, high mountain. Exhale, release the hands by the side, Samastitihi. Beautiful, again, just like that. Inhale, arms up, high mountain. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana to upward facing dog. Rolling over the toes, pushing back to downward facing dog. We'll stay here for another 5 breaths. For 1. For 2. For 3. For 4. For 5. Gaze in between your hands. This time, jump, step, hop, skip to the outside of your hands. Set the hips down. Malasana squat. You can sit onto a block if that makes it more comfortable or more accessible, or sitting on a blanket. Heels in, toes out. Elbows are pressing into the inner knees to help push the hips wide, push the knees apart. You can bring your hands into Anjali Mudra, into your chest. Trying to sit up as nice and tall as possible. Keeping the breath deep. Place your right fingers in front of your right pose. Stretch the left arm back behind you. Still sinking deep into the hips, and now adding a shoulder opening into it. The tricep is pushing into the right knee is pushing into tricep, keeping the hips open to help us spread even further, open the shoulders. Good, release, come back to center. Left fingers in front of the left toes, reaching the right arm back, really stretching it, looking back as far as possible. Still sitting up nice and tall, not losing the integrity of the pose. Letting the shakes and the shivers come. Take one more breath, reach a little bit further. Good, and come back to center. You can bring your hands behind you so that you can sit all the way down. We'll bring our knees into our chest, bring our hands around our knees. Take an inhale to look up, puff the chest out. And exhale, come onto the sacrum, round the back, gaze towards the navel. Again, come forward, inhale, puff the chest out, look up. Pinch the shoulder blades together. Exhaling to round. One more, inhale to come forward, looking up. Exhaling to round. Drop your knees to one side. Keep the knees together. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, take a twist over to your left. Double spinal extension, gazing behind us. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, release your arms behind you. Bring the knees over to the other side. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale, taking a twist over to the right. Gazing behind you. Sitting up nice and tall. Good. Inhale the arms up. Come out of your twist. Exhale, place the hands behind you. Send the knees to the sky. Bring your feet hip width apart. Fingers are behind the hips, facing forward. Push into the heels, send the hips up. Let the head hang back if that feels good on the neck. And I like to shift forward and back
for some additional stretching, some additional play. This can be a very intense wrist stretch, so be gentle if you are shifting forward and back. Maybe shift side to side. Experiment a little bit. Find what feels good in your body. And then we'll straighten the legs, send the hips in between the wrist, and set the glutes down onto the mat. We'll bring the toe mounds together. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Grabbing the thighs, the shins, the feet, the toes, wherever the hands land. We'll inhale to lengthen the back and exhaling to ripple forward, folding over the thighs. With each breath, think about inching the rib cage along the legs. Think about lengthening the hamstrings, finding length in the back. One more deep breath here. And then you can exhale, release the back, round the back, release the head, release the legs. And just go limp, go heavy into this Paschimottanasana, forward fold. And let gravity pull you closer towards your legs. Let gravity do the work. One more breath here. And on your exhale, you can slowly roll the upper body up. You can shift forward onto your mat so that you can lie all the way down. Bring the knees into the chest. Give the knees the hug. See if you can grab the opposite elbows. And once you have grabbed the opposite elbow, see if you can let your sacrum, your low back, sink back towards the ground to really feel that stretch in the hip flexors, maybe even the glutes. You can rock back and forth if you like to add some movement onto the spine. And take a moment to thank yourself for your practice. Thank yourself for spending this time on you, on your body, for your mind and with your spirit. We don't give ourselves enough credit or appreciate ourselves enough. So really thank yourself. Say it out loud for coming to the mat today. Keeping the right knee into the chest, stretching the left leg out long. We'll take the left arm to the outside of the knee and stretch the right knee across the body, reaching the right arm out long, gazing in the right direction for a supine twist. Let the left hand be added weight onto the leg. Keeping the shoulder, the right shoulder, on the ground as much as possible. You can inhale that right leg back to center. Keep the right leg in towards the chest. We'll grab the right foot with the right hand and aim that right knee in towards the armpit for a one-legged happy baby. You can place the left hand onto the left hip flexor or the left hip to help keep it grounded towards the mat. And just play with this one-legged happy baby. It can be quite a different sensation doing one leg rather than two. Good, and you can release that leg down whenever you're ready. And we'll bring the left leg into the chest, hugging it tight in towards the rib cage, and then taking it across the body over to the right side, and then outstretch that left arm to the left, gazing in its direction. Still keeping our attention on the breath and observing the sensations
Observing our mind as we move through practice, even as we slow down our practice. Good, you can begin to come back to center, and we'll grab that left foot with the left hand, aiming the knee in towards the armpit for our one-legged happy baby. Again, placing the right hand onto the hip flexor or the hip to help keep it grounded, and pulling with that left hand into the left foot to stretch the glute and the hamstring. Breathing deep into the hip flexors, into the groin. Good. You can release the leg, bring both knees back into the chest, bringing the forehead to the knees, giving yourself one last hug, one last squeeze. And then stretching out, starfish style, letting the legs go long, the arms go overhead or by the side of the body, wherever feels good, whatever feels relaxing. But we're letting the body go limp, letting it go loose, letting go of all control, all engagement, letting go of any breath retention. Fully giving ourselves to the floor beneath us. Letting our mat hold our weight as we sink here into the moment. Letting the feet go wide. Releasing the quads and the knees. Letting the pelvis relax, the low back go long. Allowing the belly to be soft, the breath to be easy, natural. Feeling the rib cage expand on the ground. Noticing how the chest rises and falls. Maybe giving a little tuck to the chin to create length in the back of the neck, opening the airways. Letting the shoulders relax down from the ears. The palms face the sky. Letting the jaw unclench. The tongue be soft. Letting the eyes sink into the sockets. The eyebrows melt. The forehead relax. And letting the softness, this release, wash over you all the way from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes. And give yourself this moment, allow yourself this time to relax and to absorb your practice. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. But if you're ready to come out and continue on with the rest of your day or your evening, you can invite a deep, intentional breath in through the nose and let it out however it likes. Again, just like that, a deep, intentional breath through the nose, letting it out however. Again, inviting deeper breaths, fuller breaths into the body, bringing an energetic quality to invite more presence into the body, into the space, bringing you back from wherever you came or wherever you went, and using the breath to fuel those small movements in small places like your fingers and your toes, rolling your wrists, your ankles, beginning to bend the knees or move your head from side to side. Getting bigger and bigger movements, becoming more and more awake. Maybe bringing the knees into the chest or taking a good morning stretch by reaching your arms over your head, flexing the toes, contracting the legs. Whatever movement feels good and brings more awareness back in. You can roll over to one side, whichever side feels good. You can use that bottom arm as a pillow. And just take one more breath here into the back space of the heart. And you can use your top arm to sit up all the way into a seated position, into Sukhasana, easy pose, just like we started class. You can bring your hands into Anjali Mudra as a sign of respect for the practice, for your practice, to yourself. I'd like to take one last breath together before we depart. So when you're ready, we'll just take a deep inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Thank you so much for practicing with me here today. And again, thank yourself for practicing and showing up for yourself on the mat. I hope that you can take this energy with you for the rest of your day or your evening or the rest of your week. And I look forward to seeing you next time on the mat. Thank you.